Hi. Is the Cannabis and Hemp Bill doomed? We'll talk about what might happen next week when it heads back to Parliament and the ramifications of a yes vote or a no vote. Also, some intel being shared from Cambodia to Ukraine. What's that intel? We'll tell you later on today's TNT. And it's a good morning from TNT. Thanks for dropping in. And just before we move on to our first story, if you do have a moment, just click that subscribe button underneath. That does so much to help our channel you couldn't even imagine. So yeah, I mentioned in the opening introduction that we've got a doomed bill on the way. Let's look at what's going on. From the Bangkok Post, coalition parties clash over the cannabis bill. Now, the Democrat Party has said yesterday it will vote against its coalition partner's cannabis bill because it ignores concerns about social problems. Just to go through a very quick history and timeline, on June the 6th, the Public Health Minister, who has the authority to do so, delisted cannabis and marijuana from the narcotics list of Category 5 drugs. Now, a lot of people then said, well, it's a free-for-all. Now we can do whatever we like. But there were no guidelines or a bill relating to this a so-called decriminalisation put in place before. So now here we are, 3 or 4 months later, still debating what those guidelines and laws should be. And it looks like at the moment that the Democrat Party, after some changes and a bit of fiddling have been done to the original bill, are saying they're still going to vote it down. The bill's sponsor, the Bumjai Thai Party, said a negative vote would be unprecedented and damaging to the government coalition. Noting, of course, that the coalition is made up of the Bumjai Thai Party, the Democrats, who else? We've got the Palang Pracharat Party there, the party with the largest number of votes in the coalition. And then we've also got a whole host, some 20 or so independents in there as well. So it's sort of a bit of a cobbled together coalition. Moving on, a representative from the Democrats said the committee had finished its review, but not even one of the proposed alterations has made it to the revised bill. The Democrat Party proposed 13 changes and the Pheu Thai Party, that's one of the opposition parties, proposed 5, while the Faculty of Medicine of the Chulalongkorn University proposed that the bill be fully reviewed section by section. Well, it doesn't look like the Bumjai Thai Party have really taken much notice of any input from these other parties and even the Chulalongkorn University. And so they've pretty thrown it back into Parliament, hoping for the best. And Mr. Satit said, use of cannabis is undesirable in Thai society. Cannabis should be reinstated as a Category 5 substance on the list of narcotics drugs. So we'll have a look at the reaction from the Public Health Minister, Anatun Shavirakun, in just a moment. Then we'll have a quick discussion about what might transpire if this gets all voted down next week. Anatun Shavirakun said the government whip had already resolved that coalition parties would vote for the bill, but some coalition parties still had an unclear standpoint. The government whip is the person who would go around, knock on the doors of the coalition party MPs, make sure that all the votes are lined up so they pretty much know what's going to happen in Parliament. But it looks like the Democrats are holding out. The Democrats are a large chunk of votes in the coalition too, by the way. Today, the Bumjai Thai Party has kept the promise it made to the people, well, to the people who voted for Bumjai Thai anyway. That was to remove cannabis from the narcotics list. The Bumjai Thai Party is not afraid of attempts to block it from becoming more popular. I'd say that's too late. So to be clear, Bumjai Thai in the last election got some 51 MPs into the 250-member lower house of Parliament. So that's the sort of sway that they have. Any coalition party that breached the government whip's decision would be seen as taking an unprecedented step that would affect national administration and demonstrate the lack of spirit of a coalition party. So when there is a coalition, when everybody shakes hands, there's usually an understanding that they'll cooperate to get bills passed. But this one seems to be quite a sticking point for the Democrats. He said the issue would also affect decisions on the formation of a coalition after the coming general election. So there's a clear threat from Anatun Shah-Virakun. So what's going to happen after the next election? He's basically saying, well, the Bumjai Thai aren't going to be shaking hands with the Democrats in any further coalition. Not sure if that's a helpful thing for him to say. And down the bottom there, the House is expected to consider the Cannabis and Hemp Bill next week. Okay, so let's have a quick look at what might happen. The bill might get passed. They may get together with the Democrats, bang a few heads together, make a few promises, done and dusted, and we move on to the next topic. If it doesn't get passed, and I would say that's probably the most likely thing to happen here, because all the opposition parties say they will vote against it. So just the mathematics at the moment would suggest unless everybody from the coalition votes for the bill, it won't get through. And there's a lot of people, not only in Bumjai Thai, but also in the other conservative parts of the coalition government, who say they don't want this bill to go through. If it doesn't go through, then we're really looking at a status quo situation where the current Wild West, or very pioneering spirit of people assuming that they can go out and literally do anything with cannabis. They can grow it, they can invest in it, they can open shops, they can commercialise it, they can put it into the ingredients of food. Well, that will just continue. And the police and the officials really don't have much they can do because there's no laws guiding them to what they can and can't do. So it would be a very interesting situation, potentially a dangerous situation, if this doesn't get passed, or if cooler heads don't prevail and Anatun and the Democrats and others get together and hammer out some solution that might be good for politics and good for stability and good for Thai society. With thanks to 5 Star Marine, our sponsors, thank you very much. You can get on a beautiful little boat like this, and they've got 11 of those, and you can go out to an island like this, and there's some 30 of those around Phuket, and today would be a perfect day to do so. So thanks to 5 Star Marine, there's a link to their website at the bottom of this video. To our next story today, and we're talking tourism. Thai PBS World tourist arrivals in Thailand surge 43% to 3.1 million in October. So, of course, I rushed to my calculator. Let's go to the story. More than 3.1 million foreign tourists arrived in Thailand in October, an increase of 43% in September, and that's according to the Transport Minister. Well, if you extrapolate that number, 3.1 million, for a month over a whole year, then you get roughly back to the numbers we had back in 2019. I think 3.1 million equals some 37 million for the year, and we had 39 million come through in 2019. So I'm calling bullshit on this because I don't see it. Whilst I wish it was true, I just don't see it. Here on the island of Phuket, there's still a lot of hotels, I don't know, 30-40% of the hotels still not open, a lot of shops still closed as well. Once you get out of that party town of Patong, Kata Karon, it's very, very quiet. So up in Bangkok, the situation is much the same, where there are a lot of shops still closed, a lot of hotels still closed. So if this number was true, I don't know where all these people would be staying. So I don't think that number is correct. Are they counting local domestic travel as well? Or are they, but the actual article says 3.1 million foreign tourists. So I think that number is incorrect, and we hope we can clarify that over the next few days. Let's hope it is correct. Let's hope people are rushing back to Thailand, but I just don't think that could possibly be true. Another story here from the Pattaya News this time. An alleged Chinese kingpin owner of Club One. Remember last week we did a story about Club One, a big club being raided in Pattaya, where hundreds of patrons fled police inspection and sachets of drugs were found. A rather humorous situation where there was about 100 police, but the 100 police weren't enough to round up the 200 or so patrons. Now, the owner was arrested for using a fake Thai ID to conceal his real identity. The next paragraph, the real owner of the raided Club 1 Pattaya is believed by Pattaya police to be a Chinese national with a long criminal record, while the Deputy Inspector General of the RTP said he's planning to enforce a 5-year closure on the venue. So there certainly seems to be a story here developing of the Royal Thai Police going after a lot of these foreign-owned clubs and party venues. So I think we're going to see a lot more of these raids in coming weeks and disclosure of the people who actually own them. And then, in addition, Pattaya police looking into the man's connection to another Chinese-run nightlife complex, Top 1, where he reportedly delivered his customers after his pub was shut down. As I said, it's a bit of an ongoing story. And let's see some more of that in the Bangkok Post. No gambling dens in city, according to the police chief. The headline reminds me of the annual parade. Happens in Bangla Road in Phuket, happens in Walking Street in Pattaya, where the Royal Thai Police and the local officials and the mayor go for a walk down the street and proudly announce that there's no prostitution. So going to this story, the National Police Chief yesterday insisted there are no gambling dens in the capital. And then he made the remark in response to a statement by a group of local gamblers who claimed there are more than 100 such dens that operate in secret under the jurisdiction of the Metropolitan Police. No gambling dens? Up to 100 gambling dens. Where's the truth? Perhaps it's somewhere in the middle. So they also claim to have been abducted after gambling in one venue, officially run as a 24-hour snooker club. Snooker clubs, car wash places, they seem to be using all sorts of guises to run these illegal clubs. They alleged they'd been physically abused and extorted out of more than 5 million baht. They filed a complaint with the police. But let's read a quote from the police chief underneath. Since being appointed as the new police chief on October the 1st, I haven't received any reports about gambling dens. So I think we're going to find out more about this story. It looks like there's clearly some police cooperation with some of these larger party places and gambling dens, but that's nothing new. So I don't think we should be too shocked. It's just funny there to see the police chief denying that it's happening. To our next story today, and from Phuket-go.com, Thai election 2023 is already well underway. You just don't know it. This is an opinion piece written by me. And I just wanted to draw your attention to a couple of paragraphs in it, talking about the Move Forward Party, one of the major opposition parties. They've decided on a risky tactic on including amendments to the Article 112 law, the Les Majestés law, as a policy pledge in the lead up to the next election. So what is this law? Whoever defames, insults or threatens the king, queen, the heir apparent or the regent shall be punished with imprisonment of 3 to 15 years. So basically you can't defame or criticise the Thai monarchy. That is the law, and that law has been wielded by the current government many times and put a lot of people in jail. A lot of people have exiled themselves because they knew they were going to get into trouble. A further reference to that same topic, Article 6 of the Thai Constitution, the king shall be enthroned in the position of revered worship and shall not be violated. Taking on this particular topic as a policy position is a very risky thing for the Move Forward Party to do. Now, the other main opposition party, the Pheu Thai Party, haven't included this on their platform at this stage. So Move Forward putting themselves on a bit of an outlier by putting this as a policy position in the lead up to the next general election. The Nation says that Hun Sen, the Prime Minister of Cambodia, speaks to Zelensky, agrees to send Cambodian deminers to Ukraine. So an interesting story. Of course, Cambodia has a problem with landmines and has spent the last 40 or 50 years trying to rid their country of the problem of landmines, which goes on to this very day. The Prime Minister Hun Sen said that Cambodia would send deminers to Ukraine to provide training in mine and unexploded ordnance clearance, while also accepting his Ukrainian counterpart's invitation to visit the country at a suitable time. Yeah, now's not a suitable time. Let's do that later. Hun Sen made the pledge during a phone conversation with the Ukrainian president on November the 1st. So how did the Cambodians find the landmines? Well, they used to use metal detectors. It's walking slowly. You can imagine how arduous and stressful it would be. And they're finding coins and bits of gold and silver and other metal and old antennas and all sorts of things. So it's quite unreliable. But that's the way they were doing it until they discovered these rats. These rats are from a part of Africa, Tanzania, I believe, and they've got incredible smell and they can smell out the TNT. Let's see them in action. So they can clear the area of a tennis court in just 30 minutes. And they go backwards and forwards, and they are well looked after, well trained, and don't worry, the rats aren't heavy enough to actually explode the mine. So they can just detect it. So there's no harm to these rats. They're well looked after, well trained, well fed, and they're doing an amazing job. So the Cambodians are going to share their knowledge and their training with these rats to the Ukrainians to help them, of course, detect landmines in their country. So a nice little story there. I'll put a link to that. I think that was from the South China Morning Post, that video. So I'll put a link to that in the description as well, so you can see more about those remarkable little mammals doing a great job, not only in Cambodia, but potentially in Ukraine in the future as well. And with that, I thank you very much for watching the program. Been great having you with us. Do subscribe to the channel if you get a moment. I hope you've enjoyed our quick look through some of the main topics in Thai news today. And I think that we'll do it all again tomorrow. See you then.